Guys, welcome back to part 3 of Unit 2. Part 3, Unit 2, that's it, of this module 1B. So, if you remember the last time we stopped with this compound assignment, and I showed you example of times equals. I also asked you to try this one. So, we move on to the next thing, conditional statements. So, there are some conditional statements you can use in C# that are quite a one-liner. It's not like your if statements that's a block. An example is this one. So you can test a condition. This is the test. Is A greater than B? And immediately after, you can display a string if that is true, or display another string if that is false. Do you see that? So in this example, you have A equals 10, B equals 5. WriteLine. This WriteLine, unlike every other WriteLine you've seen, could display one of two things. It could display this literal A greater than B, or could display this literal B less than or equal to A, based on the outcome of this test. So it checks if A is greater than B. In this case, 10 is greater than 5 is true, so it's going to display this part. So as you can see, the output there is that part, and I want you to try it. Again, you can use that also for assignment. You can say num equals, you're thinking, I want to decide what number is going to be. So then you can put a test here to check, is A equal to B? If A is equal to B, you want num to be equal to 1. And if that is not the case, you want num to be equal to -1. So again, in this case, A is not equal to B, so num, this test is going to fail. Is A equal to B? It's going to be no, false. Hence, num will be -1. And as you can see, test the example, it works. In case you want to display the time of the day, you can use this class called datetime class .now. Now is going to give you the current time of your PC at that time on your computer. And arrays, here's just a sneak peek at arrays. Just like every other variable, you can say int. However, you have to put the square brackets to indicate this is an array. All right. Then give your array a name you want. In this case, I just give it a name ARR. Then you can list every item in that array. You can enumerate the items in the array by saying with curly brackets to say 1, 2, 3, all the items in the array. So the item in position 0 will become 1, position 1 will become 2, position 2 is now 3. So if you display the item in position 0, you're going to get 1 because that's the first item. And again, the same way, strings are also like arrays. So you can refer to a string using the square brackets to refer to the index of a string. So index of position 1 is E. Position 0 is H, as you can see in that string called LO. So that's pretty much it. Let's look at some exercises that are here. Write a C# program to read a string and display every character in the string on separate lines. So let's see. I'm going to quickly pop up my Visual Studio. Reading a string, I can say at first with the console.WriteLine, I want to tell the person to enter a string. Enter a string. That's it. Then I want to read the string from that person. I need to declare a variable, so I can call it my string. All right. Equal to, I'll read it from the console.readLine. Now that I have the string, I have to display it, each character of the string one on the same line. So there are ways you can do this. You can do it with a loop. And as you have seen in that example that I gave, that you can use these indexes to refer to the index of a string. So I would just decide to get myself a loop, for int. I showed you a sneak peek at loops last week, but I'm gonna, there's a part where I explain loops even deeper. So at first my I can be 0, I can be less than or equal to the length of that string. So I will say my string dot length. All right. Then my I plus plus. All right. So I want to move. Give me a second. Sorry. Dot length. All right. So my string is the string I read in. dot length gives me the length of that string, and because a string is 0 indexed, so the last character in that string would not actually get to that number. So let's say the string is dev. There are three characters in it, DEV. The first character is going to be in position 0, which it works here. However, the last character is not going to be in position 3, it's going to be in position 2. In that way, I could either say I should be less than the length of the string. That works perfectly. Or if I'm going to keep less than or equal to, I would either say -1 here. All right. Either way it works. All right. So I would just console.WriteLine, and I will display my string. However, I'll display something in position I. And that works perfectly well. I'm going to comment out this previous line of code because I don't need it, and I will F5 what I have. All right, so it says enter a string. Let me put BGT here, and as you can see, it works perfectly well. All right, so guys, I'm going to go straight to the next thing. So the exercise is done. You can play around with other variations of that. More examples. So here is an example of using arithmetic operations and divisions. A equals 6, B equals 3. So if I add A plus B over 2, again, because of the precedence of operators, B is going to first get divided by 2. And that's going to give us 1. Why is it going to be 1? Because A is 6 and is an integer. B is 3 and is an integer. 3 divided by 2 should have given us 1.5. But again, because it's an integer, so it's going to give us 1 instead of 1.5. Now when you add, so this one will give us 1. Add it to this one, which is 6, you're going to get 7. All right. So in this case, however, we had A plus B together at first before we now divide by 2. 6 plus 3 is 9 divided by 2 should be 4.5 again, but because we're dividing integers, it's going to get truncated. The decimal gets cut off and you get 4 instead of 4.5. Here's another example. S equals BA. Of course, we don't have BA right now. Console.WriteLine. S is string. So there's an is operator that gives you a true or false if something is that data type. So S is string is going to give you true. Again, please try out this code fragment and let me know what you think in the questions and answers time. So write versus write line. So when you write line, you move the cursor to the next line after writing. However, when you write, the cursor remains on the same line. So that's the difference. Here's an example. Consider write line I love. So it's going to display I love. However, the cursor is going to go to the next line waiting for the next write. So when you write this is going to be on the same line. Then book, using write, will still go to the same line. So the cursor remains on the same line. Formatting. So with formatting, there are fancy ways you can format things in C#. Here's an example. String name is John. Int age is 18. You understand those 2 lines. Town is Seattle. So if I say console.write, position 0 is position 1 years old from position 2. What C# is going to do after this prompt is going to look for items that follow. The first item is going to be seen as position 1. Second item is going to be seen as position 2. And third item is going to be seen as position 3. So this is going to display something like John is 18, which is position 1, years old from position 2, which is Seattle. So you can try that anytime you want to format. Let me show you another example with formatting. I'm just going to remove all of this. Yes, with formatting, let me just put something here. I can say 0 is the deal. So after that prompt, I'll just put a value there. So let me just say I had a variable name and I said it was UJ. All right. So here I can just put name here. So mean that when this write line writes, it's going to look for position 0 and replace the first item here with that position. So if I F5 that, as you can see, it displays UJ is the deal. Because UJ is here and I say position 0. So if I refer to a position that does not exist, I'm going to get an error. All right, if I make this position 1, for example, because there's nothing in position 1. So if I put 0 is the deal, that's why. So let me just stop it from running. I can say that is why I am a student at position 1. Okay, so I just said that I'm going to pop this out so that I can get a bigger size of my screen. I just said that 0 is the deal, that's why I'm a student at 1. So for 1, I can still put name here. All right, in that case it's going to say UJ, and I'm going to run it for you to see. As you can see, it's just UJ is the deal, that's why I'm a student at UJ. Another thing that you could do is to have, since you already have 0 as UJ, you can still have 0 here and only repeat position 0 only once. All right, then when you run that, you're still going to get the same thing. It's executing. I'm going to show you now. Again, you see it's still correct. UJ is the deal, that's why I'm a student at UJ. So formatting allows you to arrange your write statements in a very fancy way, so that you don't have to struggle with displaying. So I'm just going to quickly explain this part, and then I would shift the rest of the things to the next video. So in this part, I have still on formatting. If I want something to appear as 1.00, I better put a format that looks like this in a quote. And when I give it a value, let's say 1 or 7, it's going to put .00 at the back. So it takes whatever is in position 0, which is this one, and gives it this formatting, as you can see. So the other ones also follow suit. Whatever is position 0, hash means number. So did not get a number dot 2 decimal points. So this is what is in position 0 now. It takes the number part, okay, which is 2, 3, and it displays 23 because this number, that's that. So I wanted only 2 decimal points following the decimal point. So that's why. So you see this decimal point, it truncates 4 out of it and display .23 because that is all that is followed. So again, this is another example. If I want this to only give me 5 digits, I'll say position 0. What's in position 0? This is in position 0. I need the whole numbers, the 5 digits. So it's going to give me only this part. It's going to cut off this part, the decimal point. If I also have something that looks like a phone number, but I want to format it, so whatever is in position 0, which is this guy, I want it to take the format 0, a number first, and 3 numbers, 2 numbers, and 2 numbers. So when I do that to this number, I'm going to get this output. And finally, if I want something to have a percentage sign, again, look at the formatting that you can do. So please play around with formatting. And if you have any questions, let me have them when we discuss, or you ask your tutors in your groups. So this is going to be the end of this video. And in the next video, I'm going to continue. We're going to discuss more stuff.